All right, I am here for your questions. So if you've joined on and you want to go over any of the questions in section 3 or any of the previous sections, or if you have any general questions just about the course where we're at right now, you can post those into chat. And if you don't have access to chat, if you email me, I have that open as well. So I am here for the next 45 minutes to an hour. So come on with your questions, and we'll go over some of these exercises as needed. All right, now I'm bringing up the code for this one. So let me take a look and see what your code looks like, and see what the solution code looks like, and we'll take it from there. Give me one sec. Okay, shut off my Spotify so I can actually hear myself talk. All right, so let me pull up the code. So period T progress people. There we go. And no, there you go. Oh wait, I gotta go to my progress. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out this website. This is the first time I'm using it, so it takes a minute sometimes. Where you at? Okay, no. So 3.1.2. 3.1 Fruit Ninja. There it is. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so you have the watermelon, the title, watermelon. Okay, so that's all good. All right, so it's on mouse drag. Let's see. Okay, so you have the blade visible, which is good. The blade center is okay. So the difference that I see between your code and what should be is that first thing you need to do is set mouse in your on mouse drag code. You do need to set center X to be mouse X. Right, so when you're doing the mouse drag, obviously it's keeping track of where the mouse's location is with X and Y, and so you need to set the center for the blade and everything to be like you have blade dot visible equals true. You need to set center the blade's center X to be mouse X. Okay, and then your center Y you have as mouse X, when I think you want that to be mouse Y, right? So you do want to set both mouse Y and mouse X, okay, for that code. So I don't know if that helps with the blade's location. The title's good, so you do have Fruit Ninja, and then everything else looks okay. So I think your issue is that you're not tracking the X coordinate, and you're actually tracking the Y coordinate using the X coordinate, if that makes sense. So see if you make that adjustment, if that helps with that code. All right, so you do want to track, you want the blade's center to be at x comma 400 minus y, if that makes sense. So no, let me know if that helps to fix the diagonal code for that one. And again, I'm just waiting for feedback. Let me know how it's going. I will mute my mic, and if it's working, let me know. If it's not, ask some more questions about, or let me know what's going on so I can make some adjustments. So see if that code helps. That's essentially the thing. And the reason for that is that you're basically going straight up and down when you hit the play button. I don't know if the solution's right here, right? Because you're just going straight up and down. Oh, play. Oh, solution code. Okay. Oh, why won't my mouse thing work? Play. Solution. Maybe that one. Oh, there we go. So see how it's going diagonally like that? It's basically keeping it in line, so it always is traveling kind of in the same directions, right? See if that helps your code go. And again, if anyone else is on and has questions for me, there's a different one besides the Fruit Ninja one that you want to go over, right? Just let me know. Okay. Okay, cool. Is there anything else you want to go over in this one, in section 3? Arpita 2.3.4. So let me bring up 2.3.4. And I'll bring up your code for 2.3.4 as well. All right, 2.3. Which one? Because there's the cookie, the Scotty, and the toilet. Is it the toilet paper one? Because we did go over that the last live stream. And again, let me pull up your code for this as well. I wrote the code down for the toilet paper. Okay, so let me click OK on this. Repeat. So you're in my other class. I got to move to period H. So what issue are you having with the code? Is it the dotted line? Two dot three. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so here's the deal with the dotted line. So let me take a look at your code versus the other one and see if there's a quick fix. So it looks like you defined on mouse press. The line is at 75, comma, paper roll dot top. All right, so you have it at predefined places, okay? And like it looks like you're pretty close on it. So two things you got to make a change about. Let's see what you called yours. Did you call yours paper roll? Define paper. Okay, so what is paper roll in yours? Is that oh, there it is, paper roll. Okay, so the idea is that you are not going to use paper roll, which you have. It looks like when you were doing all of your coordinates for the line that goes across, you're using paper roll. Instead, if you uncomment your paper, you have this line in your code. Let me see if I can pull it out. Okay, you have this line in your code. Okay, with paper. It looks like you were trying to define the line. Okay, and you should keep that. Here's the one thing that you got to fix is that, and this is kind of the weird one. This is defining what's going to happen to the paper. Is that your code is going to look like this. You're going to say that the start of the line is going to be at 125, 100. And to start, the end of the line is also going to be at 125, 100. And then as you click on the paper and it unrolls the toilet paper, that will change the y coordinates and push them down. We'll change the ending coordinates and push them down. Okay, so your code's going to look like this. You're going to say line is at 125, comma 100. Right, so that's one part of it is you have to define the starting and ending point. That's part of the line syntax is you have to have a starting point and an ending point, right? So here's the other part of it, and I'm going to see if I can bring up the code so I can show you with the example. Okay, so if I click on this, right, you can, and I hold down the control button, so you can see that here's like the viewer information, right? Right now it's at 125, 100, color white, line width 100. That's what's showing up in the top here, right? So we have to define that as well when we write about line. Okay, so if I bring up the code, we also have to adjust it and say that the fill is going to be equal to white, okay, and the line width, okay, is going to be equal to 100, right? So that's like just using the inspector, right? I can kind of see what happened here, and you can see that that's the information. You can see it's a line which goes from 125, 100 to itself, right? And then it's color white and its line width is 100, right? And then you can see now that like the end of the line is at 125, 200, right? Because it looks like we're adding 50 every time. So if I reset it, right now it just has 125, 100. There's no other point, but when I click, now the end line, it looks like the Y value increased by 50. So on mouse press, we're going to be taking this line and adding some numbers to it. But first we have to define paper, right? And that's what this is. And I'm going to hit enter now. So your paper, where it says define the paper variable, should look like that, right? And that creates kind of almost an invisible piece of paper that will start unrolling. But we have to say that it's white, so it matches the toilet paper color, and that its line width is 100, and that just makes it go 50 units to the left and 50 units to the right. and that takes it straight across kind of this thing. And again, I can kind of look at this and see that like when I hold down Control, if I go to the left, right, it looks like from 125. If I go to the end, well, that's 40, 40 and up 50 or up 60. Yeah. So here's my 100, right? So it starts at 85 and it goes across to 185. That's why I have the line width as being 100. Okay. So does that help with the first part of it, which is creating the actual piece of paper before we unroll it? So let me know if you have any questions about that. And I'm actually curious if I go in and refresh. Okay. Yeah, if you change your code, I should be able to see it because I'm able to access what you're writing now. Okay, so let me see if I pull it back up again. Okay, yeah, so if you go make an adjustment to that. So that's the first part. Here's the second part of it, and that is that we need to also, in the on mouse press, we need to define the line. We need to define what's going to happen to the line. So the first thing you want to do is change the length of the paper, right? We want to change this Y value here, right? We want that to increase by 25 every single time. So you can see that like here it's at, let's do one turn of it, right? Here it's at 100. When I click once, it's at 150, right? So we're going to increase it by 50, right? Yeah, we're going to increase it by 50. Okay, so it looks like you had in your code that you were increasing the paper roll by plus equals 25, right? Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to take the Y2 value, right? We're going to say, hey, I just created this paper value, this paper line variable, okay? And we're going to go to its Y2 variable, and we're going to do plus equals 50, right? And that's going to basically move the line's ending point from the center here down to the center here, and it'll go down by 50, right? So your code should include increasing the paper length, right? That's one thing, okay? And then the other thing we need to do is we need to change we need to draw this dotted line, right? So you can see again, if I go through my my information here, that if I look at this line, it looks like if the center of paper is at 125, right, and the starting line of this dotted line is at 75, that it looks like I want to subtract 50 from that center point. And then if I go to the other side, okay, I want to add 50, right, to get to the other side. Okay, so that's going to be like the length of the dotted line is from 75 to 175. Okay, and then I also want to move the Y values, both of them, for the starting point and the ending point. Instead of being at 100, I want them to be at 125, right? So I need to add 25 to both of the Y coordinates, right? So you're going to create, okay, a line, right, in your mouse press that is going to say, let's take paper and take its x2 coordinate, the starting x2, okay, and let's just make sure I do that right. X2 paper dot x2. We're going to subtract 50. Okay, yeah. So then we're going to take this point, like kind of like this, the wherever the end of the paper is, and we're going to subtract 50. Okay, and then for the other end we'll add 50. Okay, but for the Y2, we're going to take its Y2 and we're going to add 25, right? So that's going to kind of move the paper down, the dotted line down, okay, to the edge of the paper. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing to end this line. We're going to say, I want to take paper x2 and add 50, okay, but I'm still going to move the Y2 down 25, okay. Paper Y2 minus 25, right? So just before we do the dotted line part of it, if you take a look at this code here, what I'm basically saying is wherever, right, this dotted line is, right, you can see right now that's at 125 to 50. The next dotted line is going to be to the left of this 50 and to the right of this 50. That's where it's going to start and end. But both of the Y coordinates are going to be down an additional 25 units, right, from down an additional 50 units, right? Yeah, so I did minus 25, right? No, I'm sorry, minus 50. You can see. Okay, I moved those down. Okay, and then the only other thing we need to add to this is that it's going to be line width, and you can just use the viewer for this, the inspector. The line width is going to be 1, right? Which you might not need to write because I think it's set to 1. And then we have an option also to make the dashes equal to true, right? So we're going to set all of that information for the dotted line, right? And that's going to make it so that every single time we click it, it does move it, the x coordinates to the left and right 50, okay, which it's always going to be, right? And then we're going to move the paper down 25 on both sides, okay? So that will kind of keep your paper dotted line moving down, okay? So I hope that helps. Okay, is there any questions about either this problem, which a couple people have asked me about? This one was a challenging one. I think mainly because of that the line was actually not a whole line. It was kind of a really wide dot, okay, for this first part here. So hopefully that helps. Okay. So is there any other questions about this one or any of the other ones? Okay. And just as a heads up, if you're listening, I am going through all of the old stuff that you've done for the third marking period. I'm entering that now, so that includes if you entered any information for arrays, any of the 5 ones that we were kind of working on. If you remember, we took the test on arrays, and then I said that the 5 exercises could be due up until kind of the Friday that we kind of like stopped coming to school. It was going to be due that Friday. So if you were able to hand it in prior to us leaving, I did include that in Genesis, or I'm going to finish it up right after we're done here. And same thing with the test. If you took the test, I entered that. And then I'm going to go through the CMU stuff and put that in. So my goal is that by about 2 o'clock, all of the grades are entered for the third marking period, right? And then anything else that you did not get to, I'm just excluding. I'm not going to mark it as missing. All right, so you should see some changes to your grade in the next couple of hours. There's already been some for my period D class. I put in all of the test grades and the other stuff too, okay, the other array stuff. So that's all entered, and I'll finish up everything this afternoon. So your marking period 3 grade will be set momentarily, okay, in the next couple hours. And if you have any issues with it, any questions, just let me know. I'm being pretty flexible because I want to make sure that you guys are not being penalized because we're not able to be in school. So I know it's hard to do programming by yourself at home. So if you have any issues with anything that was missing or something that you want to make up, you can let me know, and we'll be flexible with that. Okay. So again, is there any other questions about any of this other stuff that we want to go over? From mainly Unit 3, that's what's going to be due tomorrow. And then what we're going to be doing is starting at Unit 4, I'm going to slow down the pace a little bit. You won't have to complete as much, but we will be also having a test. So probably the week you come back from spring break, we will do maybe just 2 sections a week, but then at the second week we'll be doing a test with it as well. Okay. How do I know where to start on the flashlight if it doesn't show us the solution? So I'm assuming this is in Unit 3. Do you have the section for that? Is that the let me see. I'm looking at all the Unit 3s. Let's see. So flashlight. Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. So it says view solution. Okay. So let me see what's going on so far. Let me bring this one up too. So this is in Unit 3, which is down here. Flashlight. Okay, so here's what it should be doing. Okay, when I run it. Oh, I guess I got to go into the code. Okay, so the solution. Oh, click through the test cases, intensities, turn flashlight up to. Okay. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so as you go through it, the intensity goes down. And so your question is, okay, 3.2.4. Is it better for us to email you with questions? No, so probably emailing is better just because I'm trying to keep everything in one place. And if some people are doing it on Classroom in the private comments and other people are doing email, it's tough for me to remember to check everywhere. So probably just emailing it to me because then I can screenshot some stuff and attach it and send it back to you as well. Okay. All right. So how do we know where to start on the flashlight if it doesn't show up on the solution? Okay. You mean where to start the beam? Is that the question? Because if I'm looking at this, it looks like the beam is starting at, it's already defined for you, right? This is that regular this regular polygon, I believe is, oh no, that's the flashlight, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's take a look. So you have to turn on flashlight. How do we know where to start the flashlight? Let me see what else is missing from the code. Polygon. So you're going to draw a polygon, which looks like it's a 320. All right, so if intensity is greater than 0, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is with the code. Okay, so it defines the rectangle, which is the background. Okay, and then it defines the flashlight, which is the 3 rectangle oval polygon. Okay, and it says place your code above this line, below is for testing purposes. Okay, so I think I just have to sort out the difference. Okay, so you're gonna have to do, I'm trying to see where to start on the flashlight. Okay, so where that polygon starts. So it looks like it's always starting at, okay, so 200. So it looks like, if we, let's take a look at the difference between 0. So I wish I could, can I make this bigger? I can't. Maybe I didn't zoom. There we go. I can zoom in a little bit. Okay. So if you take a look, and this is kind of sorting out all of these dots a little bit, you can see that the rectangle, the 195, right, that's this thing, 195, 230, 10 across, right, because it goes from 195 to 205, and then 60 down, right? So this rectangle statement is these 4 dots, okay? The oval, right, is the white, right? So that's the thing that's centered at 200, 18, okay? And then it says regular polygon, okay? 200, 225, 3, right? So that's the triangle, okay? 200, rotate angle 180. Okay, so this 200, 225, right, is the regular polygon. Okay, that's the only one that's that we're not using to define the actual, let's call it like the flashlight, right? So the regular polygon here is the center of that that triangle, so that when we turn up the intensity, like if I make it, 90 or whatever, you can see that there's these triangles coming out, right? So I would say that the center, the starting point is the 200, 30. And let me actually pull up the docs for Polygon real quick so you can see it. Okay, so it's like sorting through that dots on the screen there. Okay, so let's find Polygon. Actually, I'll just do search. I think that's the easiest way. Okay, well, regular polygon. There we go. Okay, so you can see that for regular polygon, it goes, where's that? Set the center, which is the 200, 230. Okay, right? 200, 230. Oh, oh yeah, 200, 225. This point right here. Okay, not 230. The 230 was just the bulb. So this one right here, 200, 225, that's the one that's got all the RGB stuff. So that's going to be your center. Okay, so you're starting it there. Okay, and oh, that's what you have: 200, 225, 15 radius, 3 points, RGB. I'm just trying to compare your code to the code that's on here. Okay. So let's see. So you defined the regular polygon at 200, 225. Oh, that was what was already there. Never mind. Okay. So you're basically, the answer to your question is you're going to do a define turn on flashlight, right? And you know that because this is the name of the method, right? Turn on flashlight, which they call a function, right? So you're going to create your method here, which was define turn on flashlight, right? And then the only thing you have to do is define its intensity, or you're going to be given its intensity, right? That's the 89 that's in here, right? And then you're going to basically draw, if you notice, let's kind of go through it, that starting point, okay, is always going to be at this 200 comma 230, which is the kind of unknown dot there. Okay. So is that the only question that you have about that, or do you want me to continue and help you write the method for this one? Okay. Because your question was, how do we know where to start on the flashlight? Right. Again, kind of sorting through these dots is the tough part. You have to match them up. This is the oval. I haven't written anything because I didn't know we could test the intensity one by one. Oh, okay. All right, awesome, cool. So I don't want to do all the work for you if you can figure it out yourself. The big thing with this one is, and I'm going to help you out with one little thing, is you're going to have to do an if statement. Okay. Oh, let me take this off because that's giving me an error. Okay. You're going to have to do an if statement because you can see that as you're doing this for intensity 0, it's obviously off, right? 29, it's just drawing one triangle, right? And then for 31, it's drawing a second triangle, right? 59, it's still drawing just that second triangle, but brighter, right? Oh, no, actually, it didn't even draw it brighter, right? Same one, okay? 60, it draws a third triangle, right? 90, it draws a fourth triangle. So you're going to actually do, and this is where you have to be careful. It's not just an if statement, an if, else if, else if. You're going to actually draw write four different if statements because they're all going to run. So you're going to have an if the intensity is greater than 0, and then if an intensity is greater than 90, right? It looks like every time you go up by 30, right, it's increasing. But don't make it an else if. Make it a bunch of if statements. Okay. So that's all I'll say about that. I won't give it up. Okay. All right. So any other questions about any of the other lessons? Let me go back to them. So here's your one. Let's see if there's anything that's a little bit tougher. Right? Also, flashlight's the level 3, which is good. Because if you do that one, that's the only one you got to do. A lot of people are doing seesaw. Seesaw is a good, not as tough as this one with the 4 different ifs, but fairly challenging. All right, so I'm going to put my mic on mute. Okay, I will be monitoring the chat. So if there's anything comes up in the next 20 or so minutes, I will be streaming. I'll just be online. And something else that I'm going to add for you, we're going to try this out. I'm trying it out with my algebra classes as well. Is you may get, I'm going to post something something for something called Google Hangouts, which you may have heard of before. It's essentially going to be like a chat, not streaming, but just a chat window. So you might be able to just throw me some quick questions on there as well. So you'll see something about that. I'm still trying to make it so that you guys can chat with me live, but maybe not have to come onto a live stream at a set time. You can just ask me questions as you have them. So I'm going to try that out, and we'll see if that helps. But otherwise, I will be here if you have questions about anything else. All right, now what part of 3.2.4 is it? A specific thing or just generally kind of how to get started? Unit 3, my other class. How to separate the fireworks from the lines. All right, let me bring up my 3.2.4. Okay, here it is. 3.2.4 fireworks. Okay. Okay, sorry. I'm also in a group chat with 5 other people. Okay, so let's see what we're at. So you have on mouse press. Okay, let's see what happens. So basically it looks like above a certain point, right? You're getting fireworks, and then below a certain point, you're getting the kind of streaks that go up, okay? So let's take a look at the bottom. It says click anywhere on the canvas, anywhere where y on the or where y is 150, right? So if I hold down my control, well, let me refresh this, okay? If I hold down my control and click, my y value is 177, right? And so if I go down a little bit to where y is, or go up to where y is 150, right? Okay. Oh, I still got a streak. Notice how the firework explodes at the location where y is 150. Is it above 150? There we go. So probably exactly 150 is a streak, and above 150. So let's try like 149, right? 140. Yeah. See, 148 and 149 are giving me. Right. So exactly 150 is actually a streak going up, and then it explodes above that. Now click where y below it, you're getting the pre-firework. Okay, so that's going to be how you do the difference between them. Is you're going to say that if the mouse value, the y part of the mouse value is less than 150, meaning like the top half of that screen, you're going to do the stars with the red and white and the yellow and white kind of gradient. So like we click on one of them. Let's see if we can pull one out. Okay. So if I click on one of these stars, you can see that its location is at mouse X and mouse Y. And then it's got a gradient red, white, and a different gradient for yellow, white. Right. So there's really 2 stars there. One is the red, white, and one is the yellow, white. They're both the roundness 10 and the 12 points, right? So it'll create 2 of them. One of them's rotated, I believe, 5 degrees, and one's rotated 10 degrees, something like that. But the idea is that you're going to do an if statement and say if it's less than 150, so in the top half, you'll draw the stars. Otherwise, draw the line shooting up from the ground. Okay, so let's see if that helps. So let me know if that helps. Yeah, so that's going to be a part of your if statement. So like this is obviously like the star that they've kind of defined the stars here, I believe, right? Sorry, let me pull up my code again. So in the original code, they have... Oh, it's already in here. Okay, so they're basically defining like here's the kind of first star. That's the red white one. That's this one. Oops. Okay, this one. Okay, and then there's the yellow white one, which is the one right next to it. So they've already created the 2 stars. Okay, that's these. Okay, and then the third star is roundness 10 rotated 5. So there's the other star is probably the black that's in the middle of them. You probably can't see that. So this whole star thing. This okay, is already created inside of your mouse press, but you're going to have to make it so that this only happens if we're in that top half above the y equals 150. And then below that, it says if the firework's not high enough, draw the rising line. So that's going to actually be an else statement. So the fix here is to only do this if the mouse is less than 150. The mouse y part is less than 150. And then you'll have to do an else statement so that if it's greater than 150, so basically like from like here down, that it'll draw the line. So kind of separate those into two parts. So you're not going to have to create the stars. They're already there. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to actually be signing off. If you have any other questions, if you just want to email me which one you're having issues with, like do as much coding as you can. And if you're having any issues, just tell me which exercise it is, and I can pull up your code, and I'll be able to give you some feedback there. Okay, so I will talk to you guys on Classroom or via email. And I hope you have a good spring break because we're actually off next week. So I won't be assigning anything new next week. We'll pick it up the week after that. So have a good break. Take some time to relax and get outside if you can. Right? And I'll talk to you guys via email.